Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. It's the big one on the challenge Stradale Spider build today. We've got to get the engine out. Well, that's no mean feat in itself, but I like to do things a little bit differently, as you know. Let me spin the camera and show you exactly what the plan is today. So let me explain using my car. So we're going to be taking out the engine, gearbox transmission, exhaust manifolds down there, and the cats all as one unit. Now apparently that is pretty impossible to do, but you know me, I love a challenge. We're going to be removing the exhaust, the airbox system, the engine frame, a few other little bits, as small amount as possible. And we're going to do that on not just the challenge Stradale, we're going to be doing it on the Spider. Now the Spider is slightly different. We will have to remove the roof cassette, but other than that, we've got a bit of a challenge on our hand today. Anyway, before we do that, we have to head inside, because I've got another job that is going to be a lovely one that I've been putting off for a while. So you can see my center console here, the extremely expensive carbon fiber one. Well, we've got to cut one up because we've got to house a few more extra switches for the Spider. This next job I'm about to undertake is one that I have been not looking forward to, that I've been putting off actually, because it requires pinpoint precision. Right here we have the center console from the Silver Challenge Stradale. This is going in the Spider build, but what we have here is two cutouts for the window switches here. But as part of this build, we gain two extra switches, one for the roof operation and one for a little storage compartment that sits in the firewall behind the seats. And well, there's no other place really to put these. We've had a long chat about it. We've discussed various things. We could hide the switches, but the switches look exactly the same as these. And it makes sense after measuring out, I've made a couple of templates here, they would sit perfectly in this space here. We're gonna, as you can see, I've marked out two. We're gonna cut them, and this is the bit I'm not looking forward to. These hands need to be as precise as a surgeon's hands, and we're gonna be using this Dremel tool. So fingers crossed I don't make any slips, because this is extremely expensive and, like I say, very rare. I don't even know if you can get these anymore. So let's hope this one goes right. That's one down, one to go. So far so good. The hole is perfect. Can just about get the switch in. This is the test one from mine. It fits nicely and all the gaps are correct. We're going to do the final one here, so hopefully this goes right. And there you go guys, that is job done. I'm super happy with how this has come out. The goal here was to make it look like it came from factory like this, and I'm sure you'll agree, we have achieved that. Cutting up a rare bit of Ferrari expensive carbon fiber is definitely not something I want to do each day, but the key was really taking your time and very steady hands. So very happy to get this job out of the way, done and dusted. It looks great, all the spacing is correct. And now all we've got to do is put it all back together again with all our freshly finished bits, all our carbon fiber, all the switches, all the little panels, and then we're just gonna put it to one side and wrap it up very carefully. Now, us YouTubers are a friendly bunch. We like to have a good old chat, and when I'm catching up with my guys across the pond, we like to have a good old gossip about cars, more cars, and well, what's the best viewing on TV? And I'm often left a little bit envious with the choice of cars and the choice of TV programs. But with Surfshark, that is no longer the case. You see, Surfshark is a VPN provider, or virtual private network, which not only keeps you and your data safe and secure, protecting all your devices, that's everything from phones, laptops, tablets, even your TVs while you're online. But that is just one benefit of Surfshark VPN. Another is it enables you to connect yourself anywhere online, and that, my friends, means you can watch your favourite TV shows streamed in other countries. So as you can see, we're here on Netflix UK, but one quick click and my IP address is being bounced from New York. So if I do a quick refresh on this, we now have access to Netflix US, and I can scroll through and look for programs that I can't see in the UK. Last night I watched this one, the Clint Eastwood film The Outlaw Josie Wales. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's a no-brainer. But here is the best bit by far. By clicking on my link in the description below the video and using my promo code Ratarossa, you're going to save a whopping 83% off, plus 4 months extra free. That, my friends, is less than the price of this Ferrari Bolt once a month. Now, I'm going to say a massive thanks to Surfshark for providing one heck of a deal for you guys, and for also sponsoring today's video. Okay, next job on the Stradale Spider build is we need to pull the engine, which means a lot of the panels need to come off. Before we do that, we're changing the colour on this to Rosso Scuderia with the factory stripe, and we've hit a bit of a brick wall here. So we've got a genuine factory stripe from Ferrari at great expense. It's about 500 euros for this, and supposedly it's meant to be superior because it's meant to be printed on really thin material. So part of having the stripe on the car is when we do it, you lacquer over the top of it and you don't feel any edge, so it feels like it's been painted on there by factory. In fact, Scuderias and subsequent Ferraris were painted on. These were always a sticker. So this came from Ferrari. We have just tried to line this up on the car and we just can't figure out why it doesn't look right. Anyway, cut a long story short, I decided to measure the factory stripe. If we look at this side of the tricolor stripe, the flag, the red side, and I measure this white area, as you can see, it is about 84 mil, 83 mil. We go to the green side over here, and we are about 76, 77. So our very expensive factory stripe has been printed completely wrong. Thank you, Ferrari. So what we tried to figure out is whether that would look okay on the back here, or and whether that was meant to be like that. So I've got my guy with a few other of these Stradales with factory stripe to measure, and it should be 80, 80. Now at the back here, you probably wouldn't notice it too badly, but if you look at this part of the stripe here, as it curves around, we come to the front of the car, we have the normal Ferrari nose badge here. The stripe will come round the side, so on this side you'll see a little bit of red, this side you'll see a little bit of green. So if we line that up from the back of the car, on this side you're going to see a massive bit of red and a tiny little sliver of green. So it is not going to look right at all. So stripe has to go back, and we have to again figure out a plan B on this one. So our Stradale stripe block thickens further. When we got the genuine stripe from Ferrari, it was one of 5 left, all at factory, and we are on a time scale here. We need the stripe to be able to measure it up to be able to take this apart. So I've ordered another one from Eurospares. The stock at Ferrari likely are all the same. They're all probably printed incorrect. So we've got one from a completely different source. And good news, this will turn up next day. And if we measure, it's correct. We have 80 mil on one side and the same again on the other side. So finally a correctly printed centralized stripe, so we can plot this out on the car and finally take it apart and move on. First thing I'm doing is marking out all the central points on this rear engine lid. Now that's quite difficult because if we try and measure across the actual metal part here, we've got curvature here, so trying to find a nice even surface and get a central point is pretty difficult. So we're using the screen here. Screen is 54, screen halfway point is 27, so we've got a mark here. Now all of this is going to get rubbed down, so I can't just simply draw a central line down here because it's all going to get taken off anyway. So we've got to find some points where we can mark this. Basically the reason we need to do this is to paint the car. We're going to have to take this whole roof mechanism out, engine's coming out, all of this engine lid is coming off, and rather than put it all back together to paint it and mark it out and put the stripe on, it all gets taken down, stripe gets put on, it gets painted, stripe gets put on, then we have to lacquer it. So we need to lose that edge of the stripe. So we need to take everything off. It's going to get painted. It's far easier to get painted off the car. There's a lot of intricate bits, especially around this roof mechanism. So we need to make sure that when we put the individual parts of the stripe, so this back bit, that front bit, the front bonnet, the hood bit at the front, when we put it all back on the car, it all lines up. Otherwise, we've got a bit of a problem. Now, to make sure we get that stripe perfectly straight on the build, I have ordered one of these. It's a little laser sight. It's about £25. And if we check this out, switch it on. Now, obviously, I'm holding that, so it's not steady. But once we've got that, we're going to line it up on the car and know exactly where our center point is for the stripe. We've put some markings on here on little bits that we can use as reference points here. We're going to need to put one over here as well. Some on the front. We're going to use the hole in the front of the hood for the badge as the front reference. So we're all good. We can start taking it apart. So the Spider roof cassette all comes out as a complete whole, as you can see. Now I thought this job was going to be an absolute nightmare. I don't know if you saw the straps on that little time lapse there. I had planned on lifting this out with the engine crane, but we thought we'd try some muscle, and well, that was successful. So we lifted it, took it out the door, and the next job is I need to strip off these panels ready for paint. I'll do that in the background. So we now need to get the engine out of the Spider. Now you don't actually see these parts, they are just really a stopper for the roof flap mechanism, but it annoys me that when this car is obviously has some paintwork before, it's just been done a little bit kind of shoddy. So we're gonna, you can see all the overspray here, we're gonna do it all properly down the sides there, take all this back and respray them black, so it just looks good. Okay, so we are working our way to taking the engine out on the Spider. So everything is labelled up here. We've got the airbox out the back, just taking the exhaust out. And the next thing is we need to take the frame out, drain the fluids. What else have we got here? As you can see, this one with the roof cassette all the way out here, we've got nice access to the back here. There's a couple more pipes and cables down here that I need to just take off, and then yeah, frame out. That's going to help me get to some of those pipes at the back, and then the biggie, this one's coming out. Okay, so we are nearly ready. Everything is strapped up. Now, a little trick. If you want to get the engine out of one of these in one piece, with all of the manifolds on, the cats on, the gearbox on, people say it can't be done. Well, it can be done. It just takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of jiggling around here. So, first of all, you need to strap up the gearbox or transmission end, because this has to come up at an angle. It needs to come up out of the car like this, and the reason is, if you look down here, we've got a gap, and you can just about get the manifolds up through an angle, and once they're over to here, it's clear, but it's very, very tight. Look at this, you've got this back kind of bar, and there is literally a tiny bit of wiggle room, and then at the front here, you can see we've already started to lift it a little bit. You've got the access panel down here where you can do your cam belts. What happens is the engine tilts and it starts to kind of go in here, and we need to lift that, and if you look, there's no clearance here at the moment. So what we have to do is we lift the back, we move it backwards slightly once the gearbox has cleared this rear frame, and then we bring up the manifolds through here. Now it's kind of, we've pulled it a bit this way to clear some of the front frame. You can get a better idea down here on this side. So you can see that it does look extreme over there because, like I say, the engine's a bit further over, but here we've got a bit more gap. You can see, so the manifolds, the exhaust manifolds, are going to come up through here. Once they're at this point, we can then lift the whole thing. So here we go. Well guys, there you go, another successful operation on the Stradale Spider build. That is full engine out with everything on it. They said it can't be done, it certainly can. It just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of perseverance. It will come out though. Well, you think the next part is going to be easy, right? Repeat the process on the Stradale engine, switch them over, job done. Unfortunately, with everything on this build, not that simple. A lot of differences between the two engines. Things like the looms, different lengths on certain connectors, different connectors, so we got to figure all that out. We're also going to take the opportunity to clean up that engine before it goes into the Spider. So join me next time when I'll be getting everything sorted out and getting the car ready to go in this paint booth finally. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my social medias, and make sure you pick up a massive 83% off and 4 months extra free with Surfshark using my link in the description below the video. Until then guys, stay safe. Ciao for now.